Awesome. Okay. So thank you everyone so much for joining us this afternoon and bearing with our technical difficulties as we get started on this urban agriculture land access application through ChiBlockBuilder. My name is Brian Batista. I'm with the Business Affairs and Consumer Protection Department here at the City of Chicago. And I will be the presenter discussing this application with you. Joining me are my colleagues Miranda Raskin with the Mayor's Office and Meg Gustafson with Development and Planning. All right, so just a brief overview of our agenda today. We'll be covering the list of items here. This should take about 25 minutes. And we'll have time for questions and answers at the end. Again, this session will be recorded and posted onto the BACP YouTube. At this time, we are permitting folks to put their questions into the chat. Let me just go ahead and make sure that everyone is able to do that. That way, once we get to the end of the recording, we can have some questions queued up. So we'll be discussing the overview of BACP as our department, the food equity initiative that brought this type of program forward, the land access application overall, including the eligibility and the program requirements and timeline. And then we'll be doing a quick demo of how to view the sites that are available in ChiBlockBuilder, in addition to discussing the scoring criteria and the application deadline and questions and answers at the end. Robin, I see that you have a question, so I'm going to go ahead and bring you off mute.
Oh, I just was going to say the chat seems to be disabled.
Oh, darn. Okay. I tried.
I think the chat might be disabled, but the Q&A is open.
Yeah. Oh, okay, perfect. So folks can put their questions into the Q&A. That'd be great. Right. Okay, everybody. So BACP as a whole. Oh, a participant has requested transcription. Give me 1 second. All right, so hopefully it is providing a transcription of everything I'm saying. I'm going to slow down my talking a little bit just to make sure that it is accurately capturing my words. So the Chicago Department of Business Affairs and Consumer Protection works to ensure a fair and vibrant marketplace for businesses, workers, and consumers in the city. We do a wide range of operations for business affairs, including licensing of public vehicles, regulating business activity, protecting consumers from fraud, and enforce the city's labor laws. And then, of course, we partner with business organizations across the city to provide education and resources for businesses. Within the Business Affairs and Consumer Protection Department, my program specifically falls under economic recovery. And specifically, I work on food equity issues with my colleague, Miranda Raskin from the Mayor's Office, to address different concerns and initiatives brought up by the Food Equity Council. The Food Equity Council was developed, this was a private-public partnership that's existed for a long time. We know that COVID-19 exacerbated food inequity issues experienced across Chicago's neighborhoods. So BACP, my department, has invested in programs focused on increasing food equity in communities that have a history of disinvestment. We're doing that by encouraging the development of urban agriculture sites by local growers in the city, providing funds to entrepreneurs who are part of the food ecosystem, and by funding local food incubator programs. So you might all have seen press releases recently or information shared from your local chambers of commerce or other economic development agencies in your neighborhoods, letting you know that there are opportunities for food incubators in the city. The program was designed alongside with the Food Equity Council, which again is a private and public partnership dedicated to transforming Chicago's food system into one that is just and equitable. And the urban agriculture aspect of it was part of what the group, the Food Equity Council, identified as a need to help increase land access for growers in the city. So the Urban Agriculture Land Access Application Program sprung out of that. The city is seeking to reduce barriers for urban agriculture or reduce barriers to urban agriculture by increasing land access for growers in the city, by converting city-owned vacant lots to be sold for $1 a parcel on the city's land sale platform, which is ChiBlockBuilder. The purpose of this program is to support projects led by experienced growers who show a long-term commitment to growing edible foods and produce for community and long-term stewardship of that land. Successful applicants will need to demonstrate that they have the sufficient financial planning and technical resources to begin their projects by fall of 2024. Just an overview of the land access application. For the sites in this round, these are sites that have previously been reviewed through environmental assessments by the city and are zoned in areas for urban farming or community gardens. Land sold through the urban agriculture land access application will be sold for $1 a parcel. A site is defined by a set of continuous city-owned vacant land parcels. So they have to be together in order to be one site. And then applicants should apply for the entire site. So unfortunately, we're not able to have people apply for an individual parcel. All right. And ineligible sites for this round are sites that have received applications in previous rounds of city land sales. So those won't be eligible to participate in the Urban Agriculture Land Access Application Program. An eligible applicant for this program who we're looking for, ideally, are individuals, nonprofit organizations, and business entities in the city that is able to and willing to own the site once they are selected. They show a commitment to growing edible food for their local community, have connections to the community where they are applying to grow food in, and have a detailed community engagement plan that aligns with the neighborhood goals. They have a long-term commitment to steward the land. That is a minimum of 10 years. Be able to maintain and care for the site, keep it cleanly, and keep the site a thriving part of that community's makeup and of the neighborhood. Have sufficient financial planning to purchase and pay for the property taxes, purchase the site, and then also pay for the property taxes to keep the site. Those will be required for the duration of the 10 years, is that the applicant pays the property taxes, and then also have the financing to deal with the other operational costs and maintenance costs. The ideal applicant will also have experience growing, and then before the title transfer for the site, the applicant will have demonstrated sufficient progress towards establishing an urban farm site. So that's getting the necessary permits or licenses for the project and have invested time and effort into identifying contractors to help build up the site and identifying additional funding. The applicant eligibility materials required will be a completed application submitted through the land access application. All applications submitted will be going through the portal that we use, which is submittable. So that completed application will have a few additional things as attachments. So a detailed program description and a site plan. The site plan could be something as simple as a drawing or layout of the site to something with like a mock-up that folks have, spent quite a bit of time preparing for what they want their site to look like. A detailed project budget, which again includes the estimated costs for the first year of ownership, including access to water, taxes, construction costs for hoop houses, fencing, growing beds, soil and seed costs, and then of course like labor costs for contractors doing those installations. Proof of support of the project from the surrounding neighbors, community organizations, nonprofit organizations, or other community growers who are already part of this atmosphere and environment. And then a description of the impact on the adjacent neighbors and surrounding neighborhood. This project to us is a team effort. So we want to ensure that the applicant that is going to receive the site is someone who has, if not deep roots within the community they're applying in, significant and demonstrable connection to that neighborhood or community, that there's somebody that cares about what the neighborhood wants to see for the growth of the neighborhood as a whole. The financial requirements for this program, we want the applicant to have sufficient financial planning and financing to meet the annual anticipated costs for the ownership and the operation of the sites, which include the taxes, the annual taxes. You need to be able to pay those in addition to water access and other potential costs. The other costs for land ownership may include things like the produce merchant license, the urban agriculture license, business licenses, and other permits. The applicant will also be required to submit a project budget and proof of sufficient financial planning for all necessary costs. We developed this urban agriculture land access application document that should be available on the site that you all use to find the registration link for this Zoom. So if you'd like to refer to the documents there, it could give you a better understanding of what a really well-rounded application for this program will look like. The selection criteria, all the applicants that all applications have to be received by the deadline. They will undergo a review by the review team that will determine whether or not all the required components are addressed and included. The application review team will also determine if the proposal is incomplete. Any proposal that is incomplete or lacks any of the required application materials will not be considered. Very importantly, this application has to be submitted through the website. Any applications sent over to us via email before or after the deadline are not considered completed applications. It's required to have the application submitted through the website. Proposals that are determined to be complete will be forwarded to the review panel. Now, our selection criteria for these sites, these will be the categories that we are using to determine whether an application, how strong the application is for the site that it's being supplied for. Sustainability of the project. Priority is going to be given to projects that show evidence of clear commitment and financial and technical support, partnerships with other organizations, and a clear plan for identifying future funding. The feasibility of the project, so that will be projects that have a clear plan and design and a realistic timeline for what they want to achieve, in addition to being ready to start activating the land by fall of 2024. Community support and impact. Those will be projects that have support from other growers, neighbors by the site, and organizations as indicated through letters of support, attendance at community meetings, and clear plans to engage the community that they would like to grow in. Priority will also be given to projects that provide and sell food for the community that they want to grow in. The applicant, priority will be given to the applicants that reside in the city of Chicago with connections to the neighborhood that they're applying in. And then also applicants, priority will be given to applicants from the communities disproportionately impacted by food insecurity. And then lastly, experience growing. Priority will be given to projects where the applicant has previous experience with urban agriculture or similar types of projects. Now, the requirements and the timeline for this program, we mentioned this a little bit earlier, but just to go into more detail now, after the selection, the Department of Planning and Development, or DPD, will begin the process of transferring the land to the applicant, which will include the title transfer. This process can take several months. The selected applicant will also need to work with the city to secure a right of entry agreement for the site, which will allow site access and site preparation before the land transfer. Selected applicants should be prepared to work with the city's Department of Fleet and Facilities Management, or 2FM, in early 2025 to secure that right of entry so that they can begin preparing the site for growing. In order to be eligible for right of entry, applicants must complete the economic disclosure statement and right of entry request forms. Those are available on the city's websites. Provide proof of insurance that lists the city of Chicago as the insured party and meet the coverage requirements and amounts. Submit a scope of work, and the right of entry is active between 30 days, which is the minimum, and 180 days, which is the maximum.
Hi, Miranda here from the mayor's
Yeah.
office, business and neighborhood development team. I also just wanted to note that the right of entry isn't required, but may be a viable option or something that you as a grower are interested in pursuing to access the land before the title is transferred.
Awesome. Thanks, Miranda. All right, a little bit of the remaining requirements and the timeline. Selected applicants have to commit to long-term stewardship of the site for urban agriculture. So that's a minimum of 10 years, after which there are no further restrictions on the land use. The selected applicant will be required to submit proof of acceptable land use to BACP, who will monitor the land activity for the first 5 years. Active maintenance of the site includes, but is not limited to growing produce for community, maintenance of the soil beds, weed removal, maintenance of fencing, and maintenance of hoop houses. Farms are expected to be fully operational within 5 years, selling and providing food to the communities experiencing lack of access to healthy food. By the 5th year, if the farm has not reached that milestone, DPD may require the owner to either sell the land to another entity who can continue urban agriculture operations, or reconvey the land back to the city. For evidence of sufficient site planning, site preparation specific to each urban agriculture operation will be reviewed by BACP on at least an annual basis. Evidence of site preparation will include, but is not limited to, business license procurement. So that's dependent on the type of business entity, whether it's sole proprietorship, general partnership, or other types of entities. The procurement of the urban agriculture license, which allows growers raising and selling produce in the city. Basically, it allows folks who have an urban agriculture site to be able to sell the produce at that site. And then the procurement of additional licenses as needed by the business operations at the site. Evidence of site preparation will also include, but are not limited to, installation of water, fencing, soil preparation, the development of raised beds, and hoop house installation. Now, how to apply for the site? Folks need to use the ChiBlockBuilder website in order to see what is available to apply for. I'm going to go ahead and open this link. I believe I have it open here. And go ahead and share the urban agriculture site. Give me 1 second. Okay. Miranda, can you let me know if you're seeing the ChiBlockBuilder site?
I am not seeing it right now. I'm seeing the presentation.
One more time. How about now?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, perfect. All right. So you will go to ChiBlockBuilder.com. This site is pretty simple to use. You can either view the city-owned lots, but that will give you the whole thing. That won't show you specifically what's available for this round of urban agriculture. So in order to view that, you need to click on Apply for Lots. Once you click on that, you will be brought to the application page for the lots. One of the cool features about the site is that it actually can, if you type in your, well, first we need to select the acceptable land use or the accepted land use. And you'll see in this dropdown in the second square here that you can select urban agriculture or urban ag. And so that'll show you the sites that are available specifically for urban agriculture applications in this round. So if you type in an address that you want to be able to see what the closest site would be to that address. So if you type in your home address, I'm using the City Hall address there. You'll see that it brings me to City Hall here. If we zoom out of it, you'll see the closest application to City Hall will be this site here in Pilsen, 1747 West 18th Place. And you'll see that it is marked as accepted land use. So in order to apply for this site, you want to go ahead and go down to the bottom of the page and click Apply for that site. You'll need to enter your information here. And then you'll need to select what type of, who you are, what type of, if you're a resident or a developer, nonprofit organization, or a business owner. And then you'll want to click on Get My Applicant Code. That will send you an applicant code in your email that will help you start the process for applying for the site. That was a bit there. Again, folks just need to go to ChiBlockBuilder. We'll run through this one last time really quick. ChiBlockBuilder.com. Apply for lots. Again, you need to select the appropriate land use, which will be urban agriculture. And you'll see that the majority of the sites are contained here. You don't necessarily need to put in your address to see the sites. You can just zoom in to where the clusters of sites are. Again, guys, if you are applying for a site, you need to apply for the entirety of the site. You're not able to apply for a single parcel of the site. So you'll see that all of these sites here have 2 parcels. If you are submitting an application for any of these, you are submitting for both parcels in each site. If you would like to apply for all of these sites, one application will not be sufficient for all of them. You are submitting separate applications for 6828 South Union, 6733 South Union, 6811 South Union, and 6820 South Low. So each site requires its own application with its own budget plan, its own separate support letters, its own required materials. So you have to show, if you are planning to apply for all of them, the application needs to be completed to its entirety for all 4 sites. I'm going to bring the PowerPoint presentation back up. So again, in this round, the maximum size of the sites is about 1 to 3 parcels. The sites, again, have to be marked on ChiBlockBuilder once you hit that filter in the drop-down menu for urban agriculture. You can apply for multiple sites, but each site requires a separate application. And if a site has multiple parcels, you must include the pins for all the parcels in the site. So if we go back to the site really quickly, you'll see that this site, all the sites in the application, don't think in this round have multiple pins. Miranda, can you let me know if the sites have multiple pins in this round?
They should have multiple pins. If that's not popping up, we can reach out to DPD and edit that in the site. But in the meanwhile, like we'll understand that you're applying to all 3 sites associated with 3 different
Oh, okay.
pins. Yeah.
Actually, they do come up. Sorry,
Yeah.
guys. So once you click on that application, so we go back really quick. For this, for instance, for the site at 7,000 South Vincennes, once you click on the site and you apply for all 3 lots, it will bring up the pins for each lot.
And yeah, so the application will prompt you to just copy and paste the addresses and the pins. And it's pretty straightforward.
Yep. So please ensure that you're including the pins for each site and the addresses. Thank you, Miranda. And back to the presentation. The scoring criteria for the presentation will be the following. Sustainability of the project, just overall, the highest score that an application can get is 100 points. 30 points is the highest score for sustainability of the project, which again is priority, the projects that demonstrate evidence of clear commitment and financial and technical support to maintain the site, including funding, partnerships with other organizations, and clear plans for identifying future funding. Feasibility of the project will have a maximum score of 25 points. So those are projects with clear plans and design plans and realistic timeline, and that they're ready to start activating the site by fall 2024. Projects that also have a plan and design that have measurable and achievable goals to grow food. Community support and impact will have a maximum of 25 points. So that is projects that have support from other growers, neighbors, or organizations as indicated through letters of support, and clear plans to engage the community that they want to grow in. The project will also have provide and sell food for the community that they are growing in. The applicant section will have a maximum of 10 points. So the applicant needs to be residing in Chicago with connections to the neighborhood they're applying in, and priority will be given to applicants from communities disproportionately impacted by food insecurity. And lastly, growing experience, which has a maximum of 10 points. So the applicant has previous growing experiences, has worked in urban agriculture, has worked on similar projects. The deadline for this application will be May 17th, 2024 at 11:59 p.m. Central Time, before midnight. Applications must be submitted online through the application portal. Email or faxed applications will not be accepted. There are no exceptions. Any application submitted after that deadline by email, the website, or any other method will not be accepted after 11:59 p.m. Central Time on May 17th, 2024. You will need to apply for the site via ChiBlockBuilder. After submission, all proposals that are received by the deadline will undergo a technical review to determine whether all the required components have been addressed and included. Proposals determined by BACP to be incomplete will not be considered. BACP reserves the right to raise irregularities with its discretion if it determines that those irregularities are minor. If those irregularities are waived on one application, similar irregularities will be waived on all applications. And so now we can get into the Q&A.
Thank you for that presentation, Brian. I've been answering a few questions in the chat, but feel free to drop additional ones and we can answer them live. I believe there's a question about sites for this round not being on the west side. And for this round, yeah, the large majority of the sites are on the south side. And that was based on aldermanic support for sites being listed. But in future rounds, there might be additional sites throughout the city listed. And we encourage you to reach out to DPD and BACP if there is a specific site that you are interested in that you do not see as being marketed for this urban agriculture round. We can work together to determine if that site is able to be listed in future rounds. And also on ChiBlockBuilder, you can view all of the city's vacant land inventory. So ChiBlockBuilder is a tool for accessing the sites that we have marketed for application and also for viewing the city's land inventory that might not be for sale right now, but might be for sale in the future.
Yeah, so if you didn't see the site that you wanted listed in this round, it'd be a good time to email us and start working with us to ensure that in future rounds of the urban agriculture land access application, that those sites permitting that they are environmentally assessed and eligible, that they are listed in the subsequent rounds. I did see that we had a question about the site having to be used for growing specifically. And Miranda, I see that you responded, applications whose goal is primarily growing food will be prioritized. It looks like the person wanted to do some composting on the site. So that is eligible. That's part of, they're more than able to do that at the site. But again, the primary goal is growing food to distribute to the neighboring community. Doesn't look like we have a ton of other questions. See another question coming in. There was a vacant lot on my block, but I didn't see it listed in this round. What would be the best way to check if that lot might be available for future rounds? Again, share that address and that PIN with Miranda and myself so that we are able to inquire with DPD about whether that site is eligible to participate in the next round of the urban agriculture land access application. So sorry, Miranda, I think you might have come off mute.
Go ahead. Yeah, that's correct. And I also just wanted to point out that in this round of ChiBlockBuilder, we have the urban agriculture land access application, but are also open applications for open space, market rate housing, commercial development. So there is a chance that a lot might be listed on ChiBlockBuilder for a different use. But if this lot is not listed at all for any use, definitely reach out. Regardless, reach out and we can inquire about what the status of that lot is and if it will be able to be listed. And yeah, Meg, go ahead.
There's also the I'm interested button. If you go to, when you log on to ChiBlockBuilder, there's two maps. One just shows what's city owned. The other one shows what you can apply for. So if you go to the map on the right, there's an I'm interested button, and you can, that goes into our database and we'll catalog it. You can also type what you want to use the lot for and stuff. But that's also no guarantee. We're going to list it in the next round. The city still owns about 10,000 lots. So we don't have the capacity to sell that many at once. So they're coming online slowly. And we also need aldermanic approval to list anything. So those are just some of the things we have to do before we list it.
Yeah, as you all can see here, there's a ton of different city-owned land, but again, if not, if again, the land that you're going to see that you can actually apply for in this round is on ChiBlockBuilder. When you go to apply for lots, you can view all the city-owned land, but what's eligible for this round, again, where applications close on May 17th, 2024 by 11:59 p.m. Central Time, you will see what's available for applications by clicking on the urban agriculture, urban ag accepted land use in this drop-down menu. So you'll see what we have is primarily focused in these community areas. Again, the parcels are 1, 2, 3. There's 1 to 3 parcels in all the sites that are available. We see a question from Robin. I don't see any open spaces on this round. Is that correct? I believe open
there's
space
a
is a
few.
separate.
Yeah.
Open space is a separate category though, right? Is that?
It is a separate category, and a lot of the ones that are open space was specifically requested by someone that lives on the block, and it is open for anyone to apply, but the open space, yeah, I think also, Robin, for neighbor space in the future, sometimes we'll be listing them on ChiBlockBuilder for neighbor space. But that not as urban ag, but as open space.
Yeah, so again, for the purposes of this program, neighbor space obviously will be interested in open space applications, but for the purposes of this program, we're only looking at urban agriculture. So we're only looking at those sites that pop up when you click on urban agriculture here. And you can see that they are marked as urban agriculture and accepted use. I think I saw another question in the chat. Yeah, I think that one was again about sites on the west side. For interest in getting more sites on the west side, please work with Miranda and myself. We'd love to be able to get more sites listed, but there's quite a bit of work that Miranda and I have to do with Meg as well in order to get these sites approved by the alderman to be listed. So if you are interested in that for the next round, please reach out to us and work with us so that we can get your preferred site listed. Again, as long as it meets the eligibility for that site. I wanted to see if folks have any additional questions before we conclude this webinar. If not, I will go ahead and end it here. Again, folks, this webinar recording will be available on the BACP YouTube channel. Everyone who registered for this presentation will also be receiving the link to the YouTube so that you can refer back to it. And then, of course, feel free to reach out to Miranda or myself if you have questions about the program, its operations, or future iterations of the program. I believe that's it for questions. Thank you all so much for joining us today. I will go ahead and end the recording here.